God's purpose for you and for me, and I could never make out what it was, because when questioned about this, the Reverend gentleman seemed to be evasive. What is the purpose of God for the world? We used to sing a hymn too. God is working his purpose out as the year succeeds the year. And the nearest clue I've got to it was in the sort of refrain of the hymn. Nearer and nearer draws the time that shall surely be, when the earth shall be filled with the glory of God as the waters cover the sea. And of course that raises the question, what is the glory of God? Well now, it's pretty obvious, I think, that when we talk about life having or not having a meaning, we're not using quite the ordinary sense of the word meaning as the attribute of a sign. We're not saying, are we, that we expect this natural universe to behave as if it were a collection of words signifying something other than themselves. It isn't a point of view which would reduce our lives and the world merely to the status of signs. And it's obviously in some different sense than that that Goethe wrote his famous lines at the end of Faust. Alles Vergänglicher ist nur ein Gleichnis. Forgive my pronunciation of German. All that is mortal or all that is perishable is but symbol. And so, a symbol of what? What do we want to feel? What would satisfy us as being the meaning behind this world? It's so often, that we don't follow our ideas and our desires. Most of the things that we want very fervently are things that we've only half glimpsed. Our ideals are very often suggestions, hints, and we don't know really exactly what we mean when we think about it. But there is this obscure sense in which we feel that life ought to have significance and be a symbol in at least that sense, if not just so carried a symbol as a mere sign. Or it also may mean that life is meaningful. An individual feels that his life amounts to something when he belongs and fits in with the execution of some group enterprise. He feels he belongs in a plan, and this too seems to give people a sense of great satisfaction. But we have to pursue that question further too. Why is it that a plan, why is it that fellowship with other people gives the sense of meaning? Does it come down perhaps to another sense of meaning? That life is felt to be meaningful when one is fully satisfying one's biological urges, including the sense of hunger, the sense of love, the sense of self-expression in activity, and so on. But then again, we have to push that inquiry further. What do our biological urges really point towards? Are they just, however, things always projected towards a future? Is biology and its processes nothing but going on towards going on towards going on? Or there's a fourth and more theological sense of the meaning of life. All theistic religions, at any rate, the meaning of life is God himself. In other words, all this world means a person. It means a heart. It means an intelligence. And the relationship of love between God and man is the meaning of the world. The sight of God is the glory of God, and so on. But again here, there's something to be further pursued. What is it that we want in love with a person, and even a person in the sense of often of music that we feel it to be significant, when just at the same time we don't mean that it expresses some particular kind of concretely realizable emotion, and certainly it's not imitating the noises of nature. Program music, would simply imitate something else, and it deliberately sets out to express sadness or joy or whatever, is not the kind of thing I mean. So often when one listens to the beautiful arabesque character of the Baroque composers, Bach or Vivaldi, it is felt to be significant, not because it means something other than itself, but because it is so satisfying as it is. And we use then this word significance. So often, in those moments when our impetuous seeking for fulfillment cools down, and we give ourselves a little space to watch things, as if they were worth watching, ordinary things. And in those moments when our inner turmoil has really quietened, we find significance in things that we wouldn't expect to find significant at all. I mean, this is after all the art of those photographers who have such genius in turning the camera towards such things as peeling paint on an old door, or mud and sand and stones on a dirt road, and showing us there that if we look at it in a certain way, those things are significant. But we can't say significant of what so much as significant of themselves. Or perhaps significance then is the quality of a state of mind in which we notice that we're overlooking the significance of the world by our constant quest for it later. All this language is, of course, quite naturally vague and imprecise, because I think the wrong word is used. And yet not entirely the wrong word, because, as I said, it comes so naturally to us. It was Clive Bell, the great aesthetician, who wanted to say that all the characteristic of art, especially the characteristic of aesthetic success in painting, was the creation of significant form. Again, a very vague, imprecise expression. But it certainly is an attribute, not only of those moments in which we are tranquil inside, but also of moments of deep spiritual experience, of what would be called moksha, or release in Hinduism, or satori in Zen. That in those moments, the significance of the world seems to be the world, seems to be what is going on now. And we don't look any further. The scheme of things seems to justify itself at every moment of its unfoldment. I pointed out that this was particularly a characteristic of music. It's also a characteristic of dancing. And in the sensation of belonging with one's fellow men, in the carrying out of some significant pattern of life, which I mentioned as a second sense of the world being meaningful. Again, the character of this feeling is, again, something that is fulfilled in itself. To dance is not to be going anywhere. When we dance in a ballroom, we don't have a destination, we're just going around the room. And it's in doing this, it's in executing the pattern, in singing the music with other people, that even though this doesn't point to anything outside itself, we again get the sense of meaning. And this is also obviously the case so often in the satisfaction of the biological urges. Does one live to eat or eat to live? I'm not at all sure about this. I'm sure I very often live to eat, because sitting around a table with people, I don't like eating alone. something down the hatch, as Henry Miller said, and swallow a dozen vitamins, just because our system needs nourishment. I remember quite recently there was an article in the Consumer Reports about bread, and there had been some correspondence and protests saying that the white bread one buys in the stores is perfectly inedible and lacking in nutrition, and that it was much better to eat peasant-type breads, rough pumpernickel and things of that kind, and the experts replied that our white bread is perfectly full of good nutrients, and there's nothing really the matter with it at all. Well, I felt like saying, it isn't a matter perhaps of the bread being deficient in the essential vitamins. Bread isn't medicine, it's food, and one's complaint against it is that it's bad cookery. It tastes of nothing. And we do tend, don't we, to look upon food so often for what it will do for us rather than the delight of eating it. But if the satisfaction of biological urges is to mean anything, surely the point of these urges is not the fatuous one of mere survival. We might say the point of the individual is simply that he contributes to the welfare of the race. And the point of the race is that it reproduces itself to reproduce itself to reproduce itself and keep going. Now that isn't really a point at all. That's just fatuous. Surely the race keeps going because going is great, because it's fun. And if it isn't, and never will be, then there's no point, obviously, in going. I mean, looking at it from the most hedonistic standpoint. But then when we come to the question, what is fun? What is the joy of it? Again, we come down to something that can't very well be explained in the ordinary language of meaning, of leading to something else. And this, I think, becomes preeminently true if we think of it in theological language. That the meaning of life is God. In any of the theistic religions, what is God doing? What is the meaning of God? Why does he create the universe? What is the content of the love of God for his creation? Well, there's the frank answer of the Hindus that the Godhead manifests the world because of love, which is the Sanskrit word for play. And this is likewise said in the Hebrew scriptures, or the Christian Old Testament, in the book of Proverbs, where there is a marvelous speech by the divine wisdom, Sophia, which, in describing the function of the divine wisdom in the creation of the world, in other words, is a manifestation of the wisdom of God. Wisdom uses the phrase that in producing men and animals and all the creatures of the earth, wisdom is playing. And it was the delight of wisdom to play before the presence of God. And when it is likewise said in the scriptures that the Lord God created the world for his pleasure, this again means, in a sense, for play. And certainly this seems to be what the angels in heaven are doing according to the traditional symbolic descriptions of heaven. They are ringed around the presence of the Almighty, calling out, Alleluia, 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 through all eternity. Well, Alleluia may have meant something originally, but as it's used now, it doesn't mean anything except, well, in our own slang, whoopee. It's an exclamation of nonsensical delight. And it was Dante in the Paradiso who described the song of the angels as the laughter of the universe. And this sense of nonsense as the theme of the divine activity comes out also very strongly in the book of Job. I always think that the book of Job is the most profound book in the whole Bible, Old Testament and New Testament, because irrationality, the nonsense of his creation. Why, for example, he said, do I send rain upon the desert where no man is? Most commentators on the book of Job end with the remark that, well, this poses the problem of suffering and the problem of evil, but doesn't really answer it. And yet in the end himself, Job seems to be satisfied. He somehow surrenders to the apparent unreasonableness of the Lord God. And this is not, I think, because Job is beaten down, and that he's unduly impressed with the royal, monarchical, and paternalistic authority of the deity, and doesn't dare to answer back. He realizes that somehow these very questions are the answer. I think of all the commentators on the book of Job, the person who came closest to this point was old G.K. Chesterton. He once made the glorious remark that it is one thing to look with amazement at a gorgon or a griffin, a creature who doesn't exist, but quite another thing to look at a hippopotamus, a creature who does exist and looks as if he doesn't. In other words, that all this strange world, with its weird forms, like hippopotami, and when you look at them from a certain point of view, stones and trees and water and clouds and stars, when you look at them from a certain point of view, don't take them for granted. They are as weird as any hippopotamus, or any imagination of fabulous beasts of gorgons and griffins and things like that. They are just plain improbable. And it is in this sense, I think, that they are the Alleluia, as it were, the nonsense song. Why do we love nonsense? Why do we love Lewis Carroll? With his "'Twas brillig and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wave, all mimsy were the borogoves and the monraths outgrabe." Why is it that all those old English songs are full of "Fol-de-riddle Ido" and "Hey nonny nonny" and all those babbling choruses? Why is it that when we get hep with jazz, we just go booty 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 boo and so on and enjoy ourselves swinging it? It is this participation in the essential, glorious nonsense that is at the heart of the world, that isn't going anywhere, that is a dance. But it seems that only in moments of unusual insight and illumination that we get the point of this, and find that thus the true meaning of life is no meaning, that its purpose is no purpose, and that its sense is non-sense. But still, we want to use about it the word significant. Significant nonsense. Yes, nonsense that is not just chaos, that is not just blathering balderdash, but that has in it rhythm, fascinating complexity, a kind of artistry. It is in this kind of meaninglessness that we get the profoundest meaning. In this high-energy public lecture, Alan Watts explores the deepest metaphysics underlying our images of God. He contrasts feminine and masculine images of God and suggests that when we form images of God, those images are exhibitions of a lack of faith. Recorded at the First Unitarian Church in San Francisco in 1971, this program is called Images of God. Here's Alan Watts. Now, I'm sure that most of you know the old story about the astronaut who went far out into space and was asked on his return whether he had been to heaven and seen God. And he said yes. And so they said to him, "Well, what about God?" And he he said she is black. And although this is a very well-known and well-worn story, it is very profound. Because, I tell you, I knew a monk who started out in life as pretty much of an agnostic or an atheist. And then he began to read Henri Bergson, the French philosopher who proclaimed the vital force, the élan vital, and so on. And the more he read into this kind of philosophy, the more he saw that these people were really talking about God. And I made a great deal of theological reasoning about the existence of God. And they all start out on this line. If you are intelligent and reasonable, you cannot be the product of a mechanical and meaningless universe. Figs do not grow on thistles. Grapes do not grow on thorns. And therefore, you, as an expression of the universe, as an aperture through which the universe is observing itself, cannot be a mere fluke. Because if this world peoples, as a tree brings forth fruit, then the universe itself, the energy which underlies it, what it's all about, the ground of being, as Paul Tillich called it, must be intelligent. Now, when you come to that conclusion, you must be very careful, because you may make an unwarranted jump. Namely, the jump to the conclusion that intelligence, that marvelous designing power which produces all this, is the biblical God. Be careful. Because that God, contrary to his own commandments, is fashioned in the graven image of a paternal, authoritarian, beneficent, and it's very easy to fall into that trap because it's all prepared, institutionalized in the Roman Catholic Church, in the synagogue, in the Protestant churches, all there ready for you to accept. And by the pressure of social consensus and so on and so on, it is very natural to assume that when somebody uses the word God, it is that father figure which is intended.
That's just your assertion.
Because even Jesus.
No, it's 100% true. The earliest manuscripts don't have John talking about a woman possibly being stoned and Jesus saving her. The earliest manuscripts end at Mary and I believe two women, maybe three, but I think it's two women going to the tomb and he's told not to tell anybody in Mark. And now in Mark, they don't do that and they go tell somebody.
You can hardly believe that the universe.
That's interpolation.
Do you know why that's a good?
To reject the paternalistic image of God as an idol is not necessarily to be an atheist. Although I have advocated something called atheism in the name of God. That is to say, an experience, a contact, a relationship with God, that is to say, with the ground of your being, that does not have to be embodied or expressed in any specific image. Now, theologians on the whole don't like that idea. Because I find in my discourse with them that they want to be a little bit hard-nosed about the nature of God. They want to say that God has indeed a very specific nature. Ethical monotheism means that the governing power of this universe has some extremely definite opinions and rules to which our minds and acts must be conformed. And if you don't watch out, you'll go against the fundamental grain of the universe and be punished in some way. Old-fashionedly, you will burn in the fires of hell forever. More modern-fashionedly, you will fail to be an authentic person. It's another way of talking about it. But there is this feeling, you see, that there is authority behind the world, and it's not you. It's something else. Like we say, that's something else that's far out. And therefore, this Jewish, Christian, and indeed Muslim approach makes a lot of people feel rather strange, estranged from the root and ground of being. There are a lot of people who never grow up and are always in awe of an image of grandfather. Now, I'm a grandfather. I have 5 grandchildren and so of grandfathers. I know I'm just as stupid as my own grandfathers were, and therefore I'm not about to bow down to an image of God with a long white beard. Now, naturally, of course, we intelligent people don't believe in that kind of a God, not really. I mean, we think that God is spirit, that God is very undefinable and infinite and all that kind of thing. But nevertheless, the images of God are have a far more powerful effect upon our emotions than our ideas. And when people read the Bible and sing hymns, Ancient of Days, who sittest throned in glory, immortal, invisible, God only wise, and light inaccessible, hid from our eyes. They still got that fellow up there with a beard on. It's way in the back of the emotions. And so we should think, first of all, in contrary imagery. And the contrary imagery is, she's black. Imagine instead of God the Father, God the Mother. And imagine that this is not a luminous being, blazing with light, but an unfathomable darkness, such as is portrayed in Hindu mythology by Kali, K-A-L-I, the Great Mother, who is represented in the most terrible imagery. Kali has a tongue hanging out long, drooling with blood. She has fanged teeth. She has a scimitar in one hand and a severed head in the other. And she is trampling on the body of her husband, who is Shiva. Shiva represents also, furthermore, the destructive aspect of the deity, wherein all things are dissolved so that they be reborn again. And here is this blood-sucking, terrible mother as the image of the supreme reality behind this universe. Imagine, it's the representative of the octopus, the spider, the awful awfuls, the creepy crawlies at the end of the line, which we're all terrified of. Now that's a very important image, because let us suppose, just for the sake of argument, that all of you sitting here right now are feeling, well, fairly all right. I mean, you're not in a hospital. You don't have the screaming memes. You have a sense you probably had dinner and are feeling pretty good. But you know that you feel that you're fairly good because in the background of your minds, very far off in the background of your minds, you've got the sensation of something absolutely ghastly that simply mustn't happen. And so against that, which is not happening, which doesn't necessarily have to happen, But by comparison with that, you feel pretty all right. And that absolutely ghastly thing that mustn't happen at all is Kali. And therefore, at once, we begin to wonder whether the presence of this Kali is not in a way very beneficent. I mean, how would you know that things were good unless there was something that wasn't good at all? Now I'm not putting this forward as a final position. I'm only putting it forward as a variation, as a way of beginning to look at a problem and getting our minds out of their normal ruts. She's black. Well, she, first of all, feminine, represents what is called philosophically the negative principle. Now, of course, people who are women in our culture today and believe in women's lib don't like to be associated with the negative because the negative has acquired very bad connotations. We say accentuate the positive. That's a purely male chauvinistic attitude. How would you know that you were outstanding unless by contrast there was something instanding? You cannot appreciate the convex without the concave. You cannot appreciate the firm without the yielding. And therefore, the so-called negativity of the feminine principle is obviously life-giving and very important. But we live in a culture which doesn't notice it. You see a painting, a drawing of a bird, and you don't notice the white paper underneath it. You see a printed book, and you think that what is important is the printing, and the page doesn't matter. And yet, if you reconsider the whole thing, how could there be visible printing without the page underlying it? What is called substance, that which stands underneath, underneath, stands. To be substantial is to be underlying, to be the support, to be the foundation of the world. And of course, this is the great function of the feminine. To be the substance. And therefore, the feminine is represented by space, which is of course black at night. But were it not for black and empty space, there would be no possibility whatsoever of seeing the stars. Stars shine out of space, and astronomers, very high-powered astronomers, are beginning to realize that stars are a function of space. Now that's difficult for our common sense, because we think that space is simply inert nothingness. But we don't realize that space is completely basic to everything. It's like your consciousness. Nobody can imagine what consciousness is. It's the most elusive, whatever it is, that there is at all. Because it's the background of everything else that we know. Therefore, we don't really pay much attention to it. We pay attention to the things within the field of consciousness, to the outlines, to the objects, to the so-called things that are in the field of vision, the sounds that are in the field of hearing, and so forth. But what it is that ever it is that embraces all that, we don't pay much attention to it. We can't even think about it. It's like trying to look at your head. You know, you try to look at your head, and what do you find? You don't even find a black blob in the middle of things. You just don't find anything. And yet that is that out of which you see, just as space is that out of which the stars shine. So there's something very queer about all this. put your finger on, that which always escapes you, that which is completely elusive, the blank, seems to be absolutely necessary for there to be anything whatsoever. Now let's take this further. Kali also is the principle of death, because she carries a scimitar in one hand and a severed head in the other. Death. This is tremendously important to think about. We put it off. Death is swept under the carpet in our culture. In the hospital, they try to keep you alive as long as possible in utter desperation. They won't tell you that you're going to die. They have to be informed that it's a hopeless case. They say, don't tell this to the patient. And all the relatives come around with hollow grins and say, well, you'll be all right in about a month, and then we'll go and have a holiday somewhere, sit by the sea and listen to the birds and whatnot. And the dying person knows that this is mockery. Well, of course, we've made death howl with all kinds of ghouls. We've invented dreadful afterlives. I mean, the Christian version of heaven is as abominable as the Christian version of hell. I mean, nobody wants to be in church forever. Children are absolutely horrified when they hear these hymns which say, thy throne to lie and gaze on thee. They can't imagine what this imagery means. I mean, in a very subtle theological way, I could wangle that statement around to make it extremely profound. I mean, to be prostrate at once and to gaze on the other hand. See, there's a coincidentia oppositorum. A coincidence of opposites, which is very, very deep. But to a child, it is a crick in the neck. And that's the sort of imagery we're brought up with. So the idea of what might happen after death. Well, you're going to be faced with your judge. The one who knows all about you. This is Big Papa. Who knows you were a naughty boy and a very naughty girl, especially girl, from the beginning of things. He's going to look right through to the core of your inauthentic existence. And what kind of heebie-jeebies may come up. Or you may believe in reincarnation. And you think that your next life will be the rewards and the punishments for what you've done in this life. And you know you got away with murder in this life. And there are some awful things are going to happen next time around. So you look upon death as a catastrophe. Then there are other people who say, well, when you're dead, you're dead. Just nothing going to happen at all. So what you ought to worry about? Well, we don't quite like that idea. I think it spooks us. You know, what's it be like to die? To go to sleep and never wake up? Well, a lot of things it's not going to be like. It's not going to be like being buried alive. It's not going to be like being in the darkness forever. I tell you what, it's going to be like as if you never had existed at all. Not only you, but everything else as well. That just there was never anything, and there's no one to regret it. And there's no problem. Well, think about that for a while. It's kind of a weird feeling you get when you really think about that. You really imagine just to stop altogether. And you can't even call it stop, because you can't have stop without start. And there wasn't any start. There's just no thing. Well, then when you come to think of it, that's the way it was before you were born. I mean, if you go back in memory as far as you can go, you'll get to the same place as you go forward in your anticipation of the future as to what it's going to be like to be dead. Then you get these funny ideas that this blankness is the necessary counterpart of what we call being. Now, we all think we're alive, don't we? I mean, we're really here? That there is something called existence? You know, the existentialists, docile thrownness, here we are. But how could you be experiencing that as a reality unless you had once been dead? What gives us any ghost of a notion that we're here, except by contrast with the fact that we once weren't? And later on won't be. But this thing is a cycle, like positive and negative poles in electricity. So this then is the value of the symbolism of she is black. She, the womb principle, the receptive, the instanding, the void, and the dark. And so that is to come into the presence of the God who has no image. Behind the Father image, behind the Mother image, behind the image of light inaccessible, and behind the image of profound and abysmal darkness, there's something else which we can't conceive at all. Dionysius the Areopagite called it the luminous darkness. Nagarjuna called it Shunyata, the void. Shankara called it Brahman, that which can only, of which nothing at all can be said, neti neti, beyond all conception whatsoever. And you see, that is not atheism in the formal sense of the word. This is a profoundly religious attitude, because what it corresponds to practically is an attitude to life of total trust, of letting go. When we form images of God, they are all really exhibitions of our lack of faith, something to hold on to, something to grasp. How firm a foundation, what lies underneath us, the rock of ages or whatever, ein feste Burg. But when we don't grasp, we have the attitude of faith. If you let go of all the idols, you will of course discover that what this unknown is, which is the foundation of the universe, is precisely you. It's not the you think you are. No, it's not your opinion of yourself. It's not your idea or image of yourself. It's not the chronic sense of muscular strain, which we usually call I. You can't grasp it. Of course not. Why would you need to? Suppose you could. What would you do with it? And who would do what with it? You can never get at it. So there is that profound central mystery. And the attitude of faith is to stop chasing it. Stop grabbing it. Because if that happens, the most amazing things follow. But all these ideas of the spiritual, the godly, as this attitude of must, and we have been laid down the laws which we are bound to follow, all this jazz, is not the only way of being religious and of relating to the ineffable mystery that underlies ourselves and the world.
Audio Wisdom titles have been selected from hundreds of hours of original live recordings to bring you the ideas and insights of some of the most important thinkers of our time. Please join us again as we present notable authors and speakers in historic lectures and intimate conversations as they share their thoughts with you in their own words. For a complete catalog of offerings, please call 1-800-979-2887 or write to Audio Wisdom, Post Office Box 2309, San Anselmo, California, 94979. Welcome to The Love of Wisdom with Alan Watts. This is Limits of Language. It was recorded in April 1973 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Here's Alan Watts.
Tonight, at any rate, we've got to go through some theoretical material, so we're on a head trip. I don't know where the trip will end up. It depends on you. But in order to lay the foundation for this, we've got to examine ideas that are basic to our common sense. Ideas are very powerful. It's not only emotions that are powerful in human life. Psychoanalysis has, of course, examined the emotional bases of human opinions and beliefs, but one should also examine the intellectual bases of psychological principles, or theories, or therapies, because everybody who speaks a language at all has underneath the surface of the language, or the figuring that he uses, certain basic assumptions which are usually unexamined. And these unexamined systems of belief are extremely powerful in their influence over our lives. We'll begin with one very common idea that's built into our common sense, which is that the world, the physical world, consists of two aspects, respectively form and matter. This was foisted on us by Aristotle, and also by the Bible, because it is said that God created man out of the dust of the earth, and as it were made a figurine in his own image, and then breathed the breath of life into its nostrils, so that this form of clay became a living being. And so underneath that lies the notion that everything material is made of some sort of basic stuff, like clay is the basis of pots. And for centuries, scientists, philosophers wanted to know, what is that stuff? What are we made of? Now look here, a carpenter makes tables out of wood, and a potter makes pots out of clay. But I ask you, is a tree made of wood? Obviously not. A tree is wood. It's not made of it. Is a mountain made of rock? Obviously not. It is rock. See, our language contains innumerable ghosts. Supposing I say the lightning flashes. Surely the flashing is the same as the lightning. There is not one thing called lightning and another called flashing. The lightning is the flashing. It is raining. What is this that is raining? The raining. I can make a noun out of a verb any time by turning it into a gerund. So we populate the world with ghosts, which arise out of the structure of our language, and thus, therefore, of the structure of our thinking, because we think in language or in figuring in numbers. And so it's an intensely fascinating investigation to find out what are the hidden assumptions that underlie language and figuring. In other words, intelligence of the potter shapes the clay. So therefore, we have a basic picture of the world in which everything is being pushed around. There's a boss. There's somebody in charge who is different from what body is in charge of and puts everything into shape. Because our common sense does not allow that things shape themselves. Very odd. In Chinese, the word for nature is ziran, which is that which is so of itself, the spontaneous. The Chinese have no difficulty in thinking about nature as self-shaping. A Chinese child would not ask its mother, how was I made? It would ask its mother, how did I grow? Which would be quite different, you see. So to be made is to be good. And therefore every good being obeys. Whether you obey God or whether you obey the laws of nature, you obey. And the analog, therefore, of the world that has been put into our common sense is one of military command. Note that. Because the image of God, I would go further and say the idolatrous image of God, which has been handed down to us, is one of the beneficent tyrant, the boss, Big Papa. So then, when our physicists started to find out what stuff was, they went into it and examined it with ever more minute instruments. They first started cutting up things with knives and cutting them smaller and smaller and smaller until the particle that they wanted to dissect was exactly the same width as the edge of the knife. And so they got an atom. And that word in Greek, atomos, means the non-cuttable. Non-tomos cuttable. That's the basic atom. What you can't cut anymore because you got down to the end. Well, they weren't satisfied with that. So they got an atomos. In other words, a particle of something or other that was just the same width as the blade of the knife edge, and they looked at it under a microscope. And they saw that it seemed to be composed of more small particles. So they found out means of working those out, and then they found out extraordinary means of investigating the properties of matter. Then they reached a point where they couldn't decide whether it was particles or whether it was waves. So they called them wavicles. They thought they had come to certain ultimate wavicles called electrons. But then, unfortunately, everything fell apart and they found protons, mesons, and many other extraordinary things. Because, of course, what they didn't realize was that as you make more and more powerful microscopic instruments, the universe has to get smaller and smaller in order to escape the investigation. Just as when the telescopes... Because what is happening in all these investigations is through us and through our eyes and senses, the universe is looking at itself. And when you try to turn around to of innocent people that just were programmed this certain way, and we should change their minds through means. Maybe like concentration camps. I'm kidding, but kind of true.
Look, we re-educated the Nazis and we re-educated the Japanese, right? They were both really genocidal, and they became great allies. They're no longer that way. We actually defend Japan. We first reduced them to ashes with the atom bomb, and then we made them into the second most powerful economy on the planet. The number 2 economy in the at the time of the Asian Tiger, like the 80s. Now maybe it's number 3.
You're crazy, bro. You're crazy.
I'm crazy. What do you think?
I think all countries should unanimously. How do you say it? Unanimously pick their leaders once a year, and they
fight it out.
And let them decide what. Well, they'll be like a governor. Everybody's maybe governments get randomly, but they get maybe 4 years, and whatever they decide, and it's up to the people if they want that. But it always has to be random. Could be a good guy, bad guy, and then let's see how the world
smart
works.
enough to do a good job. What we're learning is that people want to keep their power, and they're going to increasingly break rules to keep the power. And people like money and the things it buys them and the status it gets them. And people are going to bend the rules to accumulate power and money. It's just human nature.
Of course.
Even some of the best people will do it in certain ways. So now what do you do with that? Because once they're in power, it's hard to get them out. I used to talk with someone who said Saddam Hussein was probably a nice guy while he was on his way up in power. Once he gets to the top, he starts, killing people all over the place. Maybe Ayatollah Khomeini was nice, and then he created a horrible, murderous machine, the IRGC. So the question is it inevitable that power and money corrupt you? But, people's minds get warped, and it's not even that difficult to warp them.
The one thing is, I think in our religion is their gods or whatever, they gave us free will.
What is your religion? You Christian?
I'm
Muslim?
I don't want to. Well,
He's confused.
I don't know.
Are you a beaner? You sound like a beaner.
No. Well, maybe 10%.
You're a little beaner swap.
I'm a Muslim, German, American, Indian.
It's a good combo.
Probably Jew as well, because there's a lot of Jews in different areas.
You could write.
Not by because your mother has to be Jewish, but I'm sure. What do you call them? If you're not a Jew by your mother,
patriarchal Jews,
something like that.
Why did you say demonic? Why did you go to that?
Oh man, yeah, you just get on my nerves. That's all.
Oh.
Just get on my nerves.
Well, that's different than demonic. That's just.
What do you say that was demonic?
What did I?
No, him. I want him. What do you think he said was demonic? Everybody has free will, right?
Well,
and your religion?
Let me see if I can represent his point of view. And if I get it wrong, just say you got it wrong. So I'm not trying. This is what I believe is his position: that Israel first in Gaza, and then the U.S. with Israel are collaborating to kill innocent children, and that's demonic. And that the world should stop Israel and the United States from killing innocent children. That's sort of the reducto position, but you'll even see it on the front page of the Times, where when they want to report on this war, they're going to give you an update every day of the week on the front page about the school, the girls' school that was bombed. They hit 5,000 military sites, but this one, obviously a horrific mistake, which, by the way, horrific mistakes happen in war. It's not deliberate. It's a mistake. The lives get lost. It's a horrible thing. But, that's what I assume Luong thinks, that I'm just about killing children and taking land or something like that.
You are.
Is that
You are. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You nailed it. 100%. You're not a millisecond off. You're perfect.
It's okay. So I tried to do my best to understand where you're coming from.
Like a tomahawk missile blowing up schoolgirls. You got it. On point.
If that's what
no error involved. Intentional.
No, it couldn't be. It could not be intentional. Nobody would do that. That's what you have to understand. Only.
Well, you just did. You just proved it.
Well, it's a mistake. That's why it's a mistake. And in war, these mistakes cost lives. Maybe in your profession, my profession, you could get sued or you just lose money. In war, a mistake it kills innocent people. And by the way, what's even worse? Sometimes you kill your own people. Maybe you've been to war. There's mistakes. People get killed by friendly. I've heard as much as 20% die from friendly fire. It's a huge amount. It's 1 in 5.
Rest in peace, Yitzhak Rabin.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that wasn't exactly friendly fire, but I know what you mean. You mean that he was killed by another Jew?
Stabbed right point blank range in the chest.
Say again?
Did he get stabbed in the chest or did he get shot?
I don't know. I thought he was shot, but I have to go back and look. But, I might as well put that guy in jail and consider him a crazy, a bad Jew. So he's not, not representative. But if you look at how tiny Israel is, it's sort of hard to understand why people think that we want more land all the time. It's so small. And there's no oil or any hope of getting any. We might have some natural gas actually off in the Mediterranean, which we have a deal to share with the Palestinian Authority. I don't know, if you went to visit the land, maybe you'd have to grow up with it. You'd see how
horrific apartheid is.
So you would not see any apartheid. There's no apartheid to see if you go there. There are Arab villages that are not Jewish villages, but that's kind of the way the Arab world is organized in villages. There's no apartheid. There's no place where, Arabs can't come here. Restore. You won't see anything like that.
Yeah, no security checks. No strip downs, no security checks, no.
Wait, when you come into the country? When you come into the country?
Through different sections of the city.
No. Which city?
Jerusalem.
No. There's a security wall between Jerusalem and what you might call the West Bank, and I would call Judea and Samaria. There's a security wall to stop people from coming in from outside the country. Because the West Bank or Judea and Samaria, they're not part of the country, and there's some angry people there that want to come into Israel and cause mayhem, like they had the Intifada. They were blowing themselves up in the cafes and the discos and the buses with kids. So we had to keep them out. But I don't see that as apartheid.
Can I ask you an honest question, Norm? A genuine question, brother.
Yeah.
Does it ever get exhausting being Jewish? Do you ever feel like this is too much?
Always. But you get more power. You get your batteries recharged from God, and we have Shabbos. And then you start again. You refilled. We're very energetic people, but it's a lot. There's no question about it. Like all the laws that we have to obey, all the prayers, all the rituals. We get up and pray and bless the wine and bless the food and make sure it's kosher and get ready for Shabbos and prepare for your holiday and get dressed and take care of your kids and Hebrew school and regular, it's a lot. It is exhausting. Does it get exhausting being attacked all the time? Being attacked kind of energizes you and motivates you to beat your enemy when they attack you. You come up with solutions like the beepers or like all this stuff we're doing now with the intelligence. Like all of these targets, they're not just random targets. They're like how to decapitate the IRGC regime. That's why this time we took out Khamenei right away. And I think that strike hit his son too. I think he was injured in the same strike, so he's not really in too good shape either. But yeah, that part gets exhausting. But I mean, look at the way Europe got fat and complacent and sort of mushy, from not being under duress. You don't want that either. Israelis work hard, and to some extent Jews, not all, because we know that we've got to keep running as fast as we can to survive, because the world is not necessarily a welcoming place to us, at least certain parts of the world, and at different times. We'll see how it goes in America, New York, Canada, Australia. We'll see. But again, this is why Israel's necessary, because it's a refuge. It's a place where every Jew is welcome. So when they attack us, they unify us. For not being attacked, and we argue over laws in Supreme Court and this, should the religious serve in the army or not? Should women serve? Should gays serve? What are the laws of Jerusalem or Tel Aviv? But when we're under attack, we're all fighting the same thing. You're saving strangers' lives. It's a different vibe. That's partially how we survive, by having been under pressure by others. Pushes us together. It makes us value who we are. Believe me, it's hard for us to understand who we are. Are we just, is God asking something of us? Are we really, we have to wear the yarmulke and the tzitzis and put on the tefillin and go to the mikvah and all this stuff? We have to do all this stuff? Should we be so literal? It's hard to know. But then when you look at the ridiculous world with like transgender and baseball teams, like, what do I care about baseball and transgender? Maybe I should focus more on Jewish stuff. Or when you see then somebody come in who's actively anti-Jewish, like, say, Mamdani or Tucker Carlson, you think, oh, well, I better keep my Jewish brain straight, because these people want to get rid of me. So I need to figure out how to survive and to keep my family alive. If there's any value at all to being a Jew. I mean, that's a question that one has to ask. I decided the answer is yes. I would say that for anybody. If it's a Latino person, a black person, Japanese, is there a value to keeping that Japanese thing, whatever it is, going? To me, yes, there's a great value. The blackness out of you, the domestic terrorism doesn't exist. The Latino issue. You weren't allowed to have different nations. The same thing with the Ottoman Turks. They didn't want to hear about your nationalism. Same thing with Iran. They don't want the Baluchis and the Armenians and the Kurds, staking out their own territory. They want a united Iran. The United States doesn't want the southern states seceding or the western states. So there are struggles between the vision of the greater good of the country or the society and the greater good of the constituent groups. How can you keep everything together? Too much rambling, too many thoughts? I see that, what's his name left? You guys asleep? Well, I'm going to do something productive, because I'm a Jewish guy. I'm trying to learn something now. Take care, you guys.
Protecting the sanctity of our elections is not optional, it is essential. Here in Illinois, however, we have seen preventable failures that undermine public confidence in our system. In the Republican primary for governor, voters across our state are facing chaos. In 5 counties, Lake, Kane, McHenry, Boone, and Ogle, ballots included a candidate who, according to the State Board of Elections' final certification,
Just Jewish money. Just Jewish money.
For what? Because you're handsome.
Yeah, and I'm poor.
Okay, I'll tell you a Ronald Reagan joke, okay? her story. So this woman, young girl, comes up to whatever, high school junior or freshman, comes up, meets Reagan, and Reagan says, "What do you want? What do you want in the world? What does it look like?"
Go to work.
So she said, "I want everybody to have a home. I want everybody to have food. I want everybody to be okay."
I heard that, dude.
You know this joke already? Did I tell it the other?
Go to work. No, I've seen the video.
Okay, it's not quite that. Should I tell it or not tell it?
Say it. Tell it.
Okay, all right. So, because you're not far off. So he says to her, "Well, you don't have to wait. If you want to help poor people, you can come mow my lawn and clean up my yard for me. I'll pay you $50. Come on Saturday." And she says, "Great, I'm going to do that. I'm going to mow your lawn and clean up your yard and take that $50 you pay me, give it to that homeless guy down the block, because I feel terrible for him." President says, "Okay, it sounds like we have a plan." And then she goes, "But wait a second. Instead of me doing that, why doesn't he come up here, mow your lawn and clean your yard? And you can give the money directly to him, and I don't have to get in the middle of that." And President Reagan says, "Welcome to the Republican Party." So, I mean,
we give you millions of billions of dollars, and what do you have done for us?
Me or the Jews? You mean the Jews, Israel?
America gives y'all billions in return.
America gives out about $70 billion a year, and Israel gets about 3.9.
Well, imaginary money, that's what we give y'all, honestly.
Well, because we spend it here. It's really credit for military stuff that we spend here, which is kind of good. But, okay, but we do this, and it's, it's like sale, lease back, and the way we rebuild Europe by also enriching ourselves. But, it's estimated that Israel provides like 5 times the amount of military intelligence, like 5 CIAs. It's very, very vigorous military intelligence. Again, because it has to. And similarly, we're battle testing all the equipment that you guys sell us and giving daily reports. So America hasn't been in a war in a while and doesn't need to use all this fancy stuff they're producing. Israel field tests it, makes improvement, and is on the phone with the weapons manufacturers like every day, helping to improve the product, make it safer and more effective. So,
yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
I'll be generous.
Yeah.
I'll take the stimulus pack, 1,200.
Did you get one of those? I don't even think I got one of those. Now that mention it.
Yeah, I had to pay it back. Trust.
In taxes?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to do a little bit of, I'm going to listen to some intelligent podcast about the war.
All right, you do that.
Then
I'll send you my Venmo.
Okay. Then tomorrow I go into politically correct and mention 2 things that I learned tonight and get thrown off the stage.
Okay. War never changes.
What's that?
I said war never changes.
All right. Oh, let's see what I learned. Talk to you later.
What's that? Everybody here asleep or what? What the fuck are we doing?
Necessarily about big rooms.
I'm not.
He's also not about truth.
It's the smaller rooms. The more, intimate rooms.
I mean, it got very big, but it did get out of hand. And Andrew was here.
Gotta let it go. Yeah.
Ian was here. Who else? The usual suspects.
Yeah, A, you don't remember A? She left the house.
Who left the house?
A. Brazilian girl.
Oh.
Because somebody made a black comment. And Draco was like, "Oh, why do you?" Because they're always breaking my balls about Illumi. But Illumi made a racist comment. They know what was going on. I came back. I'm like, "Oh, what's up? What happened with Illumi?"
He's like, he's saying the N-word. And then, obviously, Lisa hates me so much she doesn't want me to have any friends. She's mad that she married a Muslim man that cannot give her an orgasm. The guy is stiff as a fucking board. You know what I mean? He doesn't know how to move. He doesn't know how to do salsa moves. She probably thought she could teach him. And he's unteachable. And all he does, listen, I'm going to tell you, she's frustrated because all he does is jerk off. Right? And he blows his load really fast. You know what I'm saying? And he can't keep up. In the beginning, it was something. It's new pussy. You know what I'm saying? New pussy's great pussy. I mean, any new pussy's like the best pussy, right? So he's hitting it. He's probably hitting all the great spots.
This is
after a while.
Christian
guy. This is Catholic God. So after a while,
you're a Christian, right?
He's living in the UK.
Catholics aren't Christian.
Where he can buy like one of these masturbation fucking toys, and he's probably jerking off to the toy. As hot as she is, he's probably jerking off to the toy more than he's fucking her. And she's upset because she's fucking hot. Like, this is not my fault. So she comes on here. I'm still having great sex with my wife. I'm still eating I'm eating that fucking box like it was a fucking, like a dog, drinking out of the fucking toilet bowl on a hot day. Like, this is what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? And he's not doing this. Because he's a Muslim.
I think you're a faggot, bro.
Oh, because she married a Muslim, because she can't bring him around anywhere, she comes on here and she shits on Muslims all day long. And to me, this is a problem. But she wants to shit on me because I live in a good marriage. I'm not flirting
I think
with this
that
girl.
you're really impotent.
I'm not flirting with this girl.
And
I don't need to flirt with her. She's
I
upset
think
that
that
I'm
when
not
you
kissing her
have
ass.
sex with your wife, you really wish that was anal. Like, I really think that you are top tier.
If I wanted to go anal with my wife, she'd allow me. If I wanted to do it,
You're just trying to project yourself as like a top tier guy against somebody that you disagree with.
What top tier?
You're a fucking
You didn't even show me the receipt. We were in Costco. You didn't show me the receipt. You got kicked out. That's it.
Dude, I presented
you're
an argument, and you refuse
to
accept the argument.
You're
a ridiculous faggot. You're a fucking faggot. You probably go
always got to be personal with these guys. I noticed this.
You go into women's restrooms and wish that you could reach over into a urinal, but you're just so weak.
A urinal? There's urinals in the women's bathroom? What kind of women's bathroom are you in?
That's how weak you are.
What are you doing? You're sitting on the urinal? Fucking brainiac?
You go into the women's restroom and wish that there was a urinal that you could reach over and be like, hey, how you doing, my guy? You're a fucking
reach around, bro. You mean a reach around?
Loser. This guy is a fucking loser, 100%. He would
Like if you actually had social skills, you would be cracking a beer with me and like joking around and being cool about it and having fun.
This guy's a fucking faggot, bro.
But like you don't want to do that, dude. Like you should be drinking if you got a chip on your shoulder.
Regal, you should look up words before you deny.
You shouldn't be drinking alone either. It's like really bad. Wow.
That's not good, dude.
I deny
drinking
any
alone is not a good
conversation
thing,
with
man.
Regal because he doesn't even know that words exist. He
Listen
fucking
to him. He's
completely
begging us to
denies
talk
that
to
words
him.
exist.
Now he's baiting us. He wants us to talk to him.
Look at this guy.
He can't even accept the fact that we don't.
Dude, all he needs is a friend. You know what I mean? Like if you gotta relax, though.
Why don't you get
You're not going to
get a cat?
Like, dude, if you want a friend, dude, all you gotta do is just say something, not act like that.
That's not gonna happen, Mike.
Why don't you put out the recycling now for the garbage man? Do something nice for somebody.
Wanna be alpha male? You're not an alpha male.
Why don't you call your grandmother, send her a message?
You're not. You're
How about
not
pay your
an
rent
alpha
on
male.
time? How about let's do that? Let's do that this month. Let's pay your rent on time. Can we do that?
Yeah,
Can we not be just full of excuses?
This guy thinks of rent. This guy thinks of rent. I want homeowner. You're fucking thinking of rent? Look at how small-minded this guy is. You think that people are just in his realm. Like, from an apartment. What are you, like?
I'm just trying to get you off my back.
You got some time.
Dude, you probably shouldn't have said that to him. His girlfriend's probably like fucking ragging on him. She probably put out for him.
What about some time shares?
The whole thing, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying with Lisa. Lisa, you married this fucking stiff Muslim. Do you think he's eating out that box? He better be eating out that fucking box. I mean, maybe it doesn't shave. Maybe she stinks. I don't know. I don't want to start that. They'll just start crying if I start doing that. You think I can make her cry?
Well, she was hanging out with you the other day, dude. Now she's all like feuding with you again.
I haven't made a girl cry. Maybe I can make her cry.
Why was she hanging out with you the other day? She was all cool with you the other day. Now she's all mad at you again?
No, she's got stuff against me.
You do know that big girls.
Look at this petty shit that y'all are talking about.
What was that, Euro? I couldn't hear you over
I
this.
said big girls.
I'm sure you couldn't hear because you're just sucking dick.
Say it again.
You're a fucking faggot, bro.
Say it again.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You're talking about, oh, some woman, I made her cry. Congratulations, dude. You're a fucking male at that point. Like,
Okay.
what are you talking about?
All right, Euro, what did you say again? I'm gonna knock you down.
Don't you know that big girls don't cry?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Frankie Valley
Do you
said
wanna-
that fucking
you want
in
me to show you a list?
1956.
You have a list? I have a list. And it's top tier list.
You make
It's
a
a
list
fucking
of people,
amazing
you
list.
loser. You
An
loser.
amazing
You're
list.
like,
Let's see.
hey,
Let's
I
see if
actually
we're
got
gonna go.
laid.
We're gonna go one for
I'm
one.
gonna write this name down.
I'm gonna go one for one with Daniel. Let's see if he
You
can top my
fucking
list.
loser.
So, number one, Cora. Daniel, have you made Cora? Right? He didn't. I did. Aurora. Right? Yes? No? No? Nobody? 2-1.
What are you?
2-1. 2-1 Aurora?
What?
No? Okay.
What?
80.
You're just naming.
80 cried.
You're just naming aliases on this app.
80 cried. They already have
Aliases
3
on this Slack.
Wait, what is this a list of?
girls that have made cry on this app.
Oh,
Discord, I got a hold of
you're a
them.
top-tier
Discord?
male, doesn't it? That
Discord,
makes,
I got a
that
whole-
makes
I
you
got a whole other
top-tier
list.
male, doesn't
I
it?
got a whole other list on Discord.
Oh, okay. That makes you a top-tier guy. That you can make
No, it makes me a real
females
piece of
cry.
shit. You're not a
Have you
real
ever,
piece of shit. I
so
am.
what male have you made cry, my
I'm a
guy?
real piece of shit. You're not a real piece of shit. You're
What
just like a fake piece of
male
shit.
have you made cry?
You're like one of those fake pieces of
What
shit
male
that you buy
you
at fucking
made
Hot
cry?
Topic.
You're
But
talking
you
about females like, oh,
Doesn't
dude,
even
I
smell.
made the females cry. What
Or
male have you made cry, you alpha wannabe? Dude, just admit that you're a pussy. Just admit it.
Make pussies cry. I mean, you're crying right now, too. I mean, you've been crying since I stopped talking.
Dude, I ain't crying.
You're
I'm
proving
just
my point.
pointing
Yeah,
out
you're
that
proving
you're
my
a
point.
pussy. You're a
You're
pussy.
proving my
Like,
point.
your
You're
greatest
spitting everywhere.
accomplishment, your
You're getting
greatest
emotional.
accomplishment is that females are
You're
crying.
getting emotional. You're getting emotional.
Your greatest accomplishment
You're
is that
emotional.
females are
You
crying.
gotta calm down.
How is
You
that
gotta
an
calm down.
accomplishment? How is that an
Calm down.
accomplishment?
You gotta calm down, bro.
You're
Dude,
a fucking.
Did you really just drink 2 beers and get this like insane? Like, are you a lightweight or something?
Yeah, he's a lightweight.
Legal.
Just think it's
Can
St.
you
Patrick's Day.
look up definitions and realize that
Probably-
words
probably
actually
should.
exist?
Probably
Pass
shift
you
into
on.
the Shivers Regal. Huh? No pun intended. They switch to the Shivers Regal? Who knows? Is that
Dude, I
simple?
made a couple of females cry. I'm a tough
Is it?
guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna make now since you know what, since you pushed me now, I'm gonna make Lisa cry.
Is that your
I'm gonna make Lisa
position?
cry. I'm gonna
I
make
made
Lisa
a
cry.
couple of females cry. That's your position? That makes you tough? Or
I'm gonna
that
make her
makes
cry.
you like,
Yeah,
well,
it
what
does.
are you talking about?
Makes me tough.
Sound like you're in the garage, like
Faggot. I told you you're a faggot.
he's in his garage having 2 beers, dude, getting insane.
I'm
Eagle doesn't know that words exist.
Dude, the shit's supposed to do beer.
He's gonna complain
So
about
show me the receipt. That's the show me the receipt. And they gotta bet that shit about the receipt.
Hey, point of order, moderator, point of order. You know, this conversation, if we get back on topic about the Bible and the Quran, we can see how valuable books are in terms of having intelligent, focused conversation and studying wisdom. But this conversation is, you know, below the belt. What is the point of this conversation? Hello? For example, we have young men like CM down there who are still just maturing and developing. And so it's upon us Christians to help educate, illuminate, and share the good news with these young people who may be confused about the truth of the gospel. Hello?
Should hurt him yesterday. So mad. He doesn't know what epistemology is. About epistemology. He's like, what are you talking about? Then some other guy came in.
Wait, you're saying CM?
Yeah, CM.
How do I not know about epistemology?
What is your? He's just gonna do the same stuff Y does. Look, listen to him. Watch. What is your epistemology? Yeah, what is your epistemology? What is your worldview? Yeah,
Epistemology is not your worldview.
No, I'm asking you, what is your worldview? What is your worldview?
Oh, he does know what epistemology is.
Yeah, he does. What is your worldview? What is your worldview, CM? Because you said I have the problem of evil.
No, you don't.
Within my worldview.
Wait.
Within my worldview, right? Because you keep asking me, what is the problem of evil, right? You're saying you gave the argument.
About it.
You never gave the argument. You gave the argument
5 times.
You see what I'm saying? He doesn't want to give the argument your own. Because he said he did it yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
He's doing what the Muslims did.
Should I do it again?
No, we already did this argument already.
I can, dude. I've summarized it in like a sentence or two.
I don't need you to summarize it. I need you to give me the full argument. Give me the argument.
No, you know what?
What is evil? What is evil in my worldview?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't care.
So then how do I
know
have
what the problem of evil is?
I can answer that question. Are you a Christian?
Traditional fucking deal.
Why? Nobody's talking to you. Why?
Of course you don't want it with me, dude.
Stop speaking to you.
You don't want it.
Stop speaking to you.
Yeah, you're a fucking loser. You don't want it with me.
He's doing it again. That's all this guy knows how to do.
Bart really doesn't know what the problem of evil is. You start telling him, like,
can you give me the argument
about it, and he starts
can you give me the argument, please?
Random shit like determinism.
Can you give me the argument,
that
please?
Just don't apply.
Can you give me the argument, please? Give me the argument.
No, you know what, Bart? Seriously, I fell for that yesterday.
You see what I'm saying? There you go.
Yeah.
Megatron, any day that you want, just me and you.
I'm not going to.
Bring it up.
I want
you
you to
shit
do it.
on a panel.
I want you to
at
do it.
any point, you
this
and
is
I.
what atheism. This is atheism, guys.
Oh, this is atheism.
Yeah, this is
any
atheism.
point you want some, let's get it, my guy.
This is the atheist worldview. The one guy's talking, the other guy only gives one argument a week.
That's atheist worldview? Is that what you want?
Yeah, he sounds like my son. I swear you sound like a little boy. You sound like a little boy.
It's so funny, dude. Bart takes his life and blames it on atheism.
Like, all you do is...
This is atheism. Think about it. This is atheism.
Megatron is try to say...
Megatron.
I'm better. But when I say, at any point...
my voice yet.
At any point, we can discuss it. You and I. You just say, I don't want it.
Not with you, yeah.
Point of order, moderator, point of order. I'm very confused because this is a Bible and Quran room, and these young people, maybe we can get them to maybe read the Bible or Quran to us to prove that they can actually read, because I'm wondering, maybe people are using their thumbs now, their opposable thumbs to do action, but aren't actually reading anything. Maybe we can find out if they can read.
Can you guys read?
Go to sleep, John.
Like, that's such...
Hello, I'm sorry, but everybody who continues to speak and attack or tell me to go to sleep, if you could maybe just read a paragraph or 3 sentences to confirm our theory that perhaps you can't actually read.
Well,
I'm actually.
Yeah, this guy, why does it stop? This guy, why is obnoxious? He just doesn't stop. This guy's someone's got to stop this guy.
Me, right? These guys make ridiculous claims, and yet I bring up words like interpolation, and a person on this panel doesn't even. They say that the word doesn't even fucking exist. And
the word doesn't exist.
Megatron just said, "What is that word?"
Yeah, what is that word?
I told you why that the word doesn't exist. You're not listening.
Yeah, Megatron just said that too.
Yeah, definitely.
The word does exist. Oh,
it's my interpolation of the word. It's my interpolation of the word.
No, that's not what interpolation means.
Oh my God! That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
You're confusing interpolation with interpretation. Do you
know what that word means?
Yes. Like, that's
I don't think that word means what you think it means.
Megatron, that was directed towards you.
Oh, you don't want to talk to Eero? Now you're ignoring the other mods? I mean, we just agree.
Okay, I want to say 2 things. I believe Y does know how to read, and I believe CM knows how to read.
Math.
You should also mention how apparently there's 2 people on the panel who don't know what a fucking word is and claim that it doesn't exist.
Oh, really? Are you interpolating
They are the smartest people.
Well, how did you come to that interpolation?
What do you
Not an interpolation, it's an extrapolation.
No, how did you come to that interpolation?
Oh my gosh, that's how fucking dumb these people are. They don't understand
Can you interpolate that?
Oh my God, the context of a word.
Well, that's why he's asking
You have to agree that these 2 people are being fucking dumb. You and I. You have to agree with that.
All you have to do is interpolate the word.
And they don't even know what it means.
All you have to do is interpolate it, that's it.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Hey, Y, how was your conversation with Regal?
Oh my, my conversation with Regal could have been better.
Was he not insufferable? Like, did he ask the dumbest question on the planet?
To me personally, but
why Regal insults? This is all they learned. You know, this is all that's to learn in
This is why I'm here, to make fun of
This is the only reason why Angel's Room exists. Because once you become an atheist, you learn how to be a professional insulter. Well, that's all they do. That's all they've done. They've been in here.
Isn't that all you
That was their biggest argument. That was the biggest argument.
No, Mark, I don't insult all
Watch, they're not going to stop doing it. Watch.
Sam, stop. So, Megatron.
They're not going to stop. They're not going to stop doing it. Watch.
Isn't that all you've done? Is that you try to insult us? And
well, I was trying to interpolate what you were saying.
I just proved that I used the word, and you were not in the room when that word was used. But a person that you align with, real quick, Euro, real quick. A person that you align with didn't know that word even fucking existed. And you even claimed,
I'm interpolating, it doesn't exist.
Real quick, even you like denied that word. You like, no, that doesn't mean anything. That's how fucking retarded the people that I have to talk to.
Now you just call me retarded.
All right, point of order, moderator, point of order. I want to say CM every night has been telling me to go to sleep. I'm just wondering, like, is it really worth it to spend your energy to tell a guy at 2, 3, 4 in the morning to go to sleep? Is that how you usually spend every day of your life, telling some random guy on the internet to go to sleep, CM?
I think his mother tells him to go to sleep all the time. That's probably why he's just projecting.
My mother
so this guy just said, you're like attacking me, and now he's
interpolating something else?
But he's not attacking CM.
How did he just interpolate that?
This fucking faggot.
I told you, that's all they've been doing is insulting me.
Of course I'm insulting you, because your intellect is smaller than mine. So I can attack you. I will punch down on you.
I mean, at least you're not married. At least you're not married to a Muslim that doesn't know how to eat out your box.
You
that's a
claim
really
to
big
have
problem.
the truth. So when
Now
you're
stuck with this
so
fucking guy.
dumb that you don't know what words mean,
Imagine getting married.
Hey, why?
Imagine getting married. Yeah, why? Imagine getting married and making this.
Odell IPA.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
It's true.
So, Megatron, I have a question for you.
Yeah, again.
It's a yes or no question.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, would you say that the truth is really just a question of interpolation?
Well, first you would have to interpolate what you think truth is.
No, my
That's
God.
right.
Do you know what interpolation means, you fucking retard? He just tricked
This
you.
guy. What is wrong with this guy?
Dude, you realize he just trick questioned you. And you fucking fell for it.
Of course I did.
Interpolation is not interpolation. Like, you...
What?
Interpolation is not interpretation. Do you
You
realize
said the same word again. That's what I'm saying. I thought you were drunk there for a second. But again, keep going.
No, you realize that though he just trick questioned you. Do you realize that?
Really? Were you the only one that caught that?
Do you realize that he just tricked questioned?
Are you saying, is that what I interpolated out of what he said?
Holy shit. Do you know what interpolated means?
Yeah. I've been using it.
Okay, what is it? What is it?
You want me to interpolate it for you?
Are you a fuck? Okay.
You know
What
saying?
does... Yes, interpolate it for me.
Oh, I am using it right.
No.
You just said it.
No, I just asked you.
You asked me? You asked me?
Okay. I'm asking you, interpolate it for me.
Just did. You just used it.
No, but what is the definition of interpolate mean? It's not the same as interpret. So what is it?
Interpretation. Maybe when I say interpretation, como lo digo en español, interpretation. Why have I say it like that?
So all you're doing is like...
Maybe it depends on your interpolation.
Yeah. Or extrapolation.
What is interpolation, Megatron?
Hold on. I'm using the bathroom. Give me a second.
This fucking faggot. Interpolation.
Thoughts. I feel my thoughts.
Interpolation inside of a religious concept is the addition of text. That's what it means. It means nothing else.
Jesus?
And he tricked you. He tricked you.
You mean eisegesis?
No, it's not exegesis.
No, I said eisegesis.
Yeah, eisegesis. It like...
No, not Jesus. Eisegesis.
None of that matters, right? Interpolation.
Do you know the difference between eisegesis and exegesis?
Yeah, but that's not what you said.
What is the difference? What is the difference?
Holy shit, fuck.
What is the difference between eisegesis and exegesis?
Holy shit, fuck.
Do you know the difference? You're trying to teach me about a word. I want to know if you're listening.
I know the difference, but it kind of depends upon your interpolation.
That's what I'm saying. So why don't you explain it? But can you explain eisegesis and exegesis for us?
That was a good one, Hero. That was a good one.
Yeah.
So,
can you tell us what the...
Holy shit, fuck.
Explain to us what eisegesis and exegesis means. Then I'll have a religious discussion again. Oh, yeah.
See, that's why I didn't understand what he was saying, because he was saying interpolation. It's interpolation. Okay, so you're pronouncing it wrong. Like, yeah, interpolation.
We know that. That's wrong.
So not only
he said it, and he said it.
Now that I can look it up, right? It's actually discussing what I discussed earlier, which is like textual criticism. So you're acting like a fucking sophist, dude.
Talking about literally the same thing when I say textual criticism.
This is the whole, listen, real, this is the whole time he thought that he was saying the right word. That's why I said it over and over and over again. And then he asked us about the wrong word again. So I'm going with eisegesis and exegesis now. I'm going with eisegesis and exegesis. Let's see if he can tell us the difference. Yeah, tell us what eisegesis is versus exegesis. Why? And I'll have the religious discussion with you.
Or at least tell us your interpolation.
Yes, exactly.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I just got to say that if you really love debating religion and you think you're really smart about it and you get the big picture message, why at 4 a.m. are you using profanity and laughing like the Joker from Batman? Hello?
So that's an argument? Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it's an argument on why you're a jackass.
No, it's to the point that you're upset about the way that I say words, right?
No,
Like,
you're a fucking retard, remember? And you're a mean retard, and you don't get to be mean to people when you're fucking retarded.
I grew up with the speech impediment.
And I was right. So you're using a proprietary definition based on your understanding of what interpolation is when it's interpolation.
No, that's like not the way that people say it. Are you white? Is he white? It's fine that you think that, but I just want to say this as a counterpoint. I grew up with a speech and
no shit, Sherlock.
Yeah, thank you.
No shit.
Okay, thank you. But that doesn't negate
the tip of your tongue was probably connected to the bottom of your fucking mouth.
A word incorrectly,
guarantee it.
But you know what the word is. You even try to say the word that I say as if you know what that word is, then that would say that you are trying to infer that you know what that word means. So you
there has to be a better
are the problem. Regal, it's funny that you're trying to have
the religious. I'm ready to have the religious discussion with you. If you keep doing this now, I'm going to kick you out of the room.
Megatron, you would never have a religious discussion. I want to have a religious discussion. And you know
I'm willing to answer any
Okay, let's
questions.
go. Let's hear your religious discussion with me.
No. I'm here to answer your questions.
Dude, okay. I don't have any questions to you. What's your question to me?
You're an atheist, so kind of just want to ask if it's about religious discussion. Silly question.
Okay, that's stupid. Rhetorical. It's actually rhetorical at that point, right? Like you're just holding a rhetorical question. So, if you want, anytime, Megatron, you and I can set up where we can.
Hello, why does Y keep saying the same thing over and over again? Why? Do you realize you're repeating?
Right here. Zero epistemology.
Wait.
Zero theory for it. He's just crashing out.
What's the communication that you want?
He's just crashing out. I asked you.
Said that he challenged.
I asked you, right? Because you're the atheist.
What do you want?
I asked you, do you have any questions about Christianity?
Why would I have questions about Christianity?
So the conversation's over. You see, you see what I'm saying, Regal? I allowed it. I accepted it. I said, all right, let's do this.
That's okay.
And I asked him to show me the receipt. He didn't want to show me the receipt.
Okay, let's start.
He said yes today. He's here today. He said yes. He said yesterday. I got out of not having to show my receipt. So I said, all right, well, today, in order for you to keep. No, I'm not a Protestant. I'm a proud Catholic.
Okay.
So in order for you to leave the store today, if not, your membership will be revoked because you signed the contract. You have to show me the receipt. He goes, well, what if I didn't show you the receipt yesterday? I said, well, then you got away with it yesterday. I said, but for today, you got to show me the receipt. And he didn't want to show me the receipt.
That's a ridiculous.
He still doesn't want to show me the receipt. I let that one go. I asked him now, and now he just keeps over talking. So you got to go in the audience. That's it. Get a question because Now I'm in my car, and I could be loud, and I don't want to upset them. So get a question, write it in the chat, and then I'll respond. Because right now, you're just fucking annoying. I don't understand why I have to babysit these people. Why am I stuck babysitting these people? This is all I want to know. And how did Lisa, with such a fucking hot, end up with a Muslim that doesn't know how to eat her box? That's what I'm trying to figure out. You fucking married to a Muslim. You fucking. I hear that shit 100 times.
It's kind of odd that she's married to a Muslim, given how much she doesn't like Muslims.
He fucking hates them. She secretly wants to break up with him, I think. That's what she's doing. She's psychologically putting herself
I just don't understand how you can hate a group of people and then marry one of them. It's very, very odd to me.
No, she didn't care then because she was an atheist. Oh, maybe to be with him, she has to be an atheist. Because she's been going down that road.
Oh, well, that does change things, I guess. Oh, yeah. I see some hands raised in the audience, Beggar John.
Yeah, but all he keeps doing is repeating himself. We gave him a good 40 minutes to give us an argument, to give us something. I even asked him, I said, do you have any questions about the Bible? He asked me if I'm a Protestant. Like, this is what I mean. Like, there's just a disconnect. I don't know what it is.
Maybe
he has to switch. Maybe he has to switch beers.
I guess.
I don't know, bro.
Maybe we just need a bigger Costco sign.
Yeah, yesterday, I told him, I said, when you're in Andrew's room, you probably get away with not having to show a receipt. But when you're here, you have to show a receipt. He refuses to say, he says, I got away with it yesterday. I said, then I'm going to revoke your account. That's it. You sign a contract.
We could call this the Bible and Quran Costco.
Yeah, this is the Costco room. You know, he says morality is subjective. Okay, so I'm like, it's subjective. Does he follow rules and laws? Does he pay taxes? Who's this other guy? Why needs to take a break? He needs to go use the bathroom or something. Freshen up, drink a cup of coffee. Go drink some milk. Something. I don't know if this is pissing me off.
Yawanda. Yawanda raised her hand. CM got upset and left. I can't believe it.
Who's here?
Oh, he's still here. He's still here. I thought he left.
You know, I like mathematics, but, I asked CM if he thinks that at this point is his mathematical ramblings just schizophrenia because, I could sit there and draw math for fun. Doesn't mean it's actually saying anything or meaningful. But I'm just trying to say that reading a book is of extreme value. And just having pointless, never-ending conversations, as you know, I keep saying, just read a book if you want enhanced communication. The communication you're getting from this app is like low-quality dog food from 7-Eleven. It's just not gourmet. Hello?
CM provided proof that he reads.
Hello?
It's his place. It's like 2 levels. They got all kinds of fucking weed. Actually, they have good prices.
Wait, 2 levels of.
How much for a good ounce?
There's a lounge. It has a lounge.
Hey, what's this place called?
How much do you pay for a good ounce? I mean, I just bought a good ounce for $130.
I mean, I don't know if that's that good, but
28 grams.
Oh yeah, Illinois.
I live in Uranus, next to Saturn and Neptune.
No, you're in Chicago. You should be able to get good weed.
Yeah, I got good dispensaries there. P. Diddy's dispensary is 2 blocks from my shop, my store, my house.
Illegal products.
Smoking just isn't good for you, but reading a book turns out is probably the smartest thing and best thing you could do. I'm just absolutely.
CM is reading, dude. CM is reading.
Prove it. Come on here and create a room and say, see, I'm reading a book. Read a book for 10 minutes, for God's sakes, on here. What's the big deal? You talk all the time.
You want me to?
Yeah, I'll come to your stupid room, read a book. I want to confirm you can actually read.
Look at his PTR, dude.
Look at my PTR, dude. Look at your PTR, dude. Look at it's a picture, dude. Oh my God, it's a picture.
It's a picture of him reading.
It's pronounced picture.
Of him reading.
Well, I'm not the one reading there, but okay.
Oh, that's not you reading?
I'm the one that's bored.
Oh, is that like your twin brother?
Isn't that board racist? Shouldn't all chalkboards actually be black?
He's another student in my department.
But he looks just like you.
General survey of the field. Analytic functions of several complex variables. In the decades which lay between Cauchy's prime and the beginning of the modern French school, the theory of functions of a single complex variable made rapid progress, the chief advance taking place on German soil. Simultaneously with these developments, important problems in the theory of analytic functions of several complex
The name of this song is CM is a Bitch by Lil Wayne. It's been so funny listening to CM, like, complain and cry on here.
So then I don't understand either. Philosophy, state functioning.
Can you please teach me the problem of evil?
Can you tell me about the machine state functioning? What is Hillary Putnam talking about? You should have learned this in college. Hillary Putnam is like huge.
No,
he's like one of the best philosophers of our time. He was discussing AI in 1973. I mean, the guy's a genius.
Sure.
So,
Barth,
you don't know anything about Hillary Putnam?
I'm a fucking idiot. I need you to teach me the problem of evil.
Would you say that V is isomorphic to its dual space?
Yes.
I would say that.
I figured you would say that.
Correct.
CM, don't you understand the problem with evil is that God is evil, but God is also good. He's both. Or God is, neither. I don't understand. What don't you understand about the paradox? Can you tell me what a paradox is, CM? Again, the key word is paradox. What does paradox mean?
Saying that the Turing machine was isomorphic to a human response where he was trying to figure this out. And this was like his big thing. Yeah. This is called machine state functioning.
Turing machine is like a computer, bro.
Turing machine, exactly. That's what he was trying to figure out. But he actually, this was like his big paper, and he debunked it. He himself debunked it. And usually philosophers, this is what they do. They put something out there, and they're like, yo, you know what? Just like Luke Wittgenstein. Luke Wittgenstein? Am I saying that right?
Ludwig.
Yeah, Ludwig. He did it too. He had the Tractatus. He was like, this is a masterpiece. He leaves. He comes back to Germany. All his students are like, oh my God, this is so great. But what did you mean in premise 7? One shall not speak, so one shall remain silent. And they were asking him about this. Because they're like, they all make sense. And he was like, that's it. That's the reason why it's
look at that. Putting him as shit back.
You don't know about Hillary Putnam?
I don't know much. I mean, although I'm reading up right now. And
yeah.
Hold on.
He uses the word Somorphicism.
Yeah. Philosophy of mind, philosophy of language, philosophy of math, and philosophy of science.
So I'm saying I'm surprised that you never knew about this with the philosophy of math. This is like a person that they would discuss, a person that they would talk about.
No,
this is what I'm saying. I'm starting to question and ask us here.
It's more computer science and like philosophy. He developed a Davis-Putnam algorithm for Boolean satisfiability problem and helped demonstrate the unsolvability of Hilbert's 10th problem.
Look at that. I thought you would have known this. Like, these are your guys.
I mean, I know about Hilbert's problem. Anyways, alright, okay.
He solved it.
I'm admitting
How come you didn't solve it?
Because he did it before me. I'm admitting to him a retard. I'm stupid. Can you please explain the problem of evil to me?
Oh my God, you're stupid if you keep repeating the same question over and over again, but you haven't figured out this thing called Google, ChatGPT, or Grok. How fucking stupid can one fucking repeater be? Repeat yourself 10 times to prove just how fucking stupid you are, how much time you like to waste. Hello, fucking stupid. Is anybody there? Hello?
Yeah. So,
You like don't get worth of fucking like say something for once.
Ludwig Wittgenstein, right?
Ludwig.
What he did was, this is what he did. You want me to show you what he did?
I don't know. It's fine. I know about Ludwig.
See, why don't you just take up music, CM, and just stop talking? That's what my advice would be to you. Is just stop talking, you know? Or maybe try Toastmasters. Try Toastmasters or something, you know? Do something for that speech problem you have. Hello? Because it doesn't really matter how great you are at math. You might be fucking Einstein, but if you can't sell it, what does it matter how great of a mathematician you are if you can't fucking sell it? Sell me this pen. Go ahead, sell me the pen. Hello?
Did you see his whiteboard? His whiteboard is a silly.
So, Boris, can you help me or not?
No, dumbass. Holy shit, repeat the question again. Then Google it. Hello? Let me Google that for you. LNGTFY.
I have no problem of evil, so I have no idea what you're asking me a problem. I don't have a problem.
I'm not saying you have the problem. I'm saying what is the
If there is no problem, there's no
problem
problem, my friend. If there's no problem, then there is no problem.
I'm not saying you have it, but it's
No, I wouldn't present this problem to anybody.
Famous problem.